Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today that might sting a little, but save your life later. You gotta force yourself to level up. Nobody's coming to hand you your dreams. Nobody's waking you up in the morning to chase your calling. That's on you. You can't stay on level 1 praying for level 10 blessings. It don't work like that. Growth never comes from comfort, it comes from resistance. It comes from the moments that stretch you beyond your limits. The days you don't feel like showing up, and the battles you have to fight in silence. Comfort zones are beautiful, but nothing grows there. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you challenge, when you're scared but still move forward, when you fail and keep trying. Most people spend their whole life trying to avoid resistance, not realizing it's the very thing they need to become who they meant to be. You want to be successful, you want to be strong, but you want it without the weight. Imagine going to the gym and picking up the lightest dumbbell every single time. You'll never build muscle that way. Life is the same. You can't keep choosing easy and expect to develop character. Resistance is the weight you must lift. It's the pain you must endure. It's the rejection you have to learn from. Growth isn't some motivational quote. It's a process, and that process hurts sometimes. But the discomfort you feel is not a punishment. It's a sign that you're evolving. You have to become uncomfortable with staying the same. Most people don't fear change. They fear the discomfort that comes with it. They fear the unknown. They fear looking foolish. But if you're more committed to comfort than you are to your calling, you'll never level up. Comfort is where dreams go to die. It convinces you that good enough is acceptable. It whispers lies in your ear that say, you don't need to push today. You'll do it tomorrow. You're fine right where you are. And while comfort coddles you, time keeps moving. Opportunities pass by, and your potential sits on the shelf collecting dust. It's not about being busy. It's about doing the hard thing when your feelings don't line up. Discipline lives where comfort dies. That's where the work is. That's where the growth is. You got to lean into the resistance. Resistance is feedback. It's the world telling you this matters. This is necessary. This is shaping you. If it were easy, everybody would do it. If it were comfortable, everybody would be successful. But comfort doesn't create leaders. Comfort doesn't build empires. It's resistance that does. Think back to the times you grew the most in your life. It wasn't when you were relaxed and cruising. It was when life hit hard. It was after a heartbreak, after a setback, after a failure. Those moments force you to look inward, to dig deeper, to access a version of yourself you didn't even know existed. Resistance is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you what you're made of. It shows you what you value. It shows you how much you're willing to fight. And let's be real, it's hard. But that's the point. There's no shortcut. There's no easy path. Everything meaningful requires effort, and effort requires resistance. You can't pray for strength and ask for comfort at the same time. Strength is forged in the fire of resistance. You want to be mentally strong, emotionally stable, spiritually grounded, then prepare for discomfort. Because that's where the training happens. That's where your real self shows up. People who grow are people who choose resistance, not once, but over and over. They get up when it's easier to sleep in. They speak truth when silence would be safer. They step forward when their knees are shaking. They stay when it's hard, and they leave when it's harder. They don't chase ease, they chase excellence. And excellence doesn't live in the comfort zone. It lives in the resistance. The biggest enemy to your breakthrough is your habit of settling. Most people don't realize that the reason they haven't reached the next level in life is not because of lack of talent, not because of lack of opportunity, but because they've become too comfortable with mediocrity. Settling happens quietly. It doesn't show up with flashing lights. It starts with small compromises, telling yourself this is good enough, or maybe this is all I'm meant for. One day you wake up and realize you've built a life around excuses instead of expectations. You've lowered your standard to fit your current situation instead of stretching yourself to meet your future potential. You've made peace with limitations that were never meant to be permanent. Settling is dangerous because it gives the illusion of peace while it silently kills your purpose. It allows you to survive but never thrive. It keeps you busy but never fulfilled. You keep convincing yourself that you're fine when deep down you know you were made for more. It's easy to settle when you're tired, when the pressure hits, when things don't go your way. It's easy to settle when your environment tells you to be grateful for what you have and stop reaching for more. But settling is not gratitude. You can be thankful and still hungry. You can appreciate the now and still pursue what's next. Settling says, don't risk it. But breakthrough only comes through risk, through action, through sacrifice. There is no growth without tension. There is no new level without leaving the old one behind. You can't get to what's next if you keep holding hands with what's comfortable. Settling disguises itself as safety, but really it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss. But the truth is, you lose more by staying than you ever could by stepping out. You lose time, you lose energy, you lose purpose. And the longer you stay in a place you were supposed to outgrow, the harder it becomes to leave it. You have to make a decision. Are you going to let fear write your future, or are you going to push past your doubts and believe there's more for your life? Are you going to keep playing it safe while your dreams rust in the background? Settling never looks like failure at first. It often looks like security, but eventually it turns into regret. People don't regret the chances they took as much as the ones they did. They don't regret failing as much as they regret not trying. Life will never hand you your potential. You have to go get it. And the moment you stop reaching, the moment you start pushing, you start settling. You've got to stop acting like your current situation is your final destination. There's more inside of you. There's more ahead of you, but you'll never see it if you keep telling yourself you're okay with average. You weren't created to be average. You weren't created to blend in. You were designed to break barriers, to shatter ceilings, to make impact. But that kind of life doesn't come by sitting still. It comes by refusing to settle. You have to raise your standards even when your surroundings don't. You have to speak life over yourself even when no one else does. You have to move like you're already on the next level even when you don't feel ready. You can't wait until everything is perfect. You can't wait until it's easy. Settling will never serve you. You weren't built for it. Every time you feel that discomfort, that frustration, that quiet voice that says there's more for you, that's your soul telling you to stop settling. That's your breakthrough waiting for you to choose it over comfort. That's your potential begging you to fight back. You owe it to yourself to answer that call. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. It's not talent. It's not motivation. It's not passion. Those things come and go. But discipline is what stays when the emotions disappear. Discipline is what kicks in on the days you don't feel like showing up. It's what separates dreamers from doers. Everybody has a vision. Everybody wants to win. But not everybody is willing to wake up early, stay up late, say no to distractions, and keep going when it gets uncomfortable. Discipline is the unseen grind. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting. It's the daily decision to choose growth over ease, purpose over pleasure, and legacy over laziness. You can have all the goals in the world, but without discipline, they stay locked in your imagination. Discipline is the action that builds the foundation brick by brick, even when nobody's clapping, even when no one's watching, even when the results haven't shown up yet. It's choosing consistency when you could choose convenience. People often wait for inspiration to act, but the truth is, inspiration follows action. You don't feel like working out, but you show up anyway. You don't feel like writing, studying, building, learning, but you do it because you made a decision that who you want to become matters more than how you feel in the moment. Feelings are real, but they're not always true. Feelings can lie to you. They'll tell you it's okay to skip today. They'll whisper that one day off won't hurt. But discipline is louder than feelings. It's the voice that says, I don't care if I'm tired. I've got work to do. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. You may stumble. You may fail. But when you're disciplined, you get back up, you refocus, and you keep pressing forward. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. Success isn't built in one day of effort. It's built in thousands of small choices stacked on top of each other over time. Discipline is what protects your vision, is what guards your mind from distractions and excuses. There will always be a reason to quit, a reason to delay, a reason to take the easy way out. But every time you choose to keep going, you send a message to yourself that says, I'm not going to sabotage my future just to feel good in the moment. Every disciplined decision is a vote for the future you're building. It's you proving to yourself that you're serious, that you're committed, that you're ready. It doesn't matter how many setbacks you've had. What matters is what you're willing to do now, what habits you're willing to build, what sacrifices you're willing to make. Discipline is painful in a moment, but it's powerful in the result. It demands sacrifice, but it gives freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from staying stuck in the same place year after year. The people you admire, the ones who are successful, confident, and living with purpose, they didn't get there by accident. They weren't lucky. They were disciplined. They did the work when no one else would. They chose structure over shortcuts. They showed up every day when others gave up. Discipline is a choice. It's the daily decision to say yes to what builds you and no to what breaks you. It's choosing your future self over your current comfort. It's showing up for yourself when no one else will. You can't buy discipline. You can't borrow it. You build it by repetition, by doing the hard thing again and again until it becomes who you are. It's not something you turn on and off. It's a lifestyle. It's how you treat your time, your body, your mind, your vision. Discipline builds trust with yourself. It reminds you that you can rely on you, that when you say you'll do something, you'll follow through. That kind of self-trust is rare. That kind of power changes everything. God didn't create you for average. He created you to elevate. You weren't placed on this earth just to exist, pay bills, and die. There's a divine imprint on your life, a purpose so specific, so intentional, that no one else can fulfill it the way you can. But the problem is most people settle for average because they've forgotten who created them. They let life struggle, disappointment, and fear make them forget that they were designed by a God who does not create mistakes. You weren't made to fit in, you were made to stand out. You weren't meant to be hidden, you were meant to rise. But rising takes faith. It takes effort. It takes belief in something greater than what you see. Elevation isn't a random accident. It's a result of obedience, discipline, and walking in the direction of your calling even when the path is unclear. God didn't give you breath to live small. He gave you life to live bold, to be a light, to make impact, to inspire others through your journey. But you can't do that if you're stuck thinking average is all there is. There's a difference between being humble and playing small. Playing small doesn't serve anyone. It robs the world of the gift God placed inside you. You don't honor God by shrinking to make others comfortable. You honor him by maximizing the potential he placed in you. You honor him by stepping into the fullness of your purpose, by refusing to sit down when he called you to stand up. Too many people pray for elevation but refuse to leave the ground. They want the next level, but won't give up old habits. They want favor, but reject the responsibility that comes with it. But elevation always requires separation from who you used to be, from the things that held you back, from the mindset that kept you stuck. You don't need permission to rise. You already have the assignment. God put the greatness in you, but He won't do the work for you. He will equip you, guide you, strengthen you, but you've got to move. You've got to believe that you were created for more. When God created you, He didn't make a duplicate. He made an original. And original things don't settle for common outcomes. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You are not too late. What God put in you can't be stopped by circumstances. It can only be stopped by disbelief and disobedience. The moment you decide to believe in what He said about you more than what the world says about you, that's the moment your elevation begins. Stop walking like you don't care divine purpose. Stop speaking like you weren't designed to lead. Stop treating your life like it's something you have to survive instead of a journey you were born to elevate through. When you know who created you, you start walking differently. You start begging for approval and start moving with confidence. You don't chase validation because you already know your value. You stop asking for the bare minimum and start expecting overflow. You understand that the God who made oceans, mountains, and galaxies also made you, and He didn't make you average. You're not stuck, you're just not pushing. It's easy to look at your life and believe that something outside of you is holding you back. You blame the job, the relationship, the past, the timing, the circumstances. But the truth is, most of the time, it's not the world holding you down, it's you refusing to push forward. Growth doesn't happen without pressure. Change doesn't happen without resistance. You're waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for motivation, waiting for someone to rescue you or give you permission, when in reality, everything you need is already inside of you. You're not stuck. You just stopped moving. You've paused. You've hesitated. You convinced yourself that this place of delay is permanent, but it's not. The moment you decide to push, to lean in, to rise up, the momentum begins to build again. People often say they're stuck because they feel like nothing is changing. But change doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes it looks like quiet, consistent effort that nobody sees. Sometimes pushing means getting up and trying again when you don't feel like it. Sometimes pushing means shutting out the noise, ignoring the doubt, and choosing action over anxiety. The hardest part is pushing when you feel like quitting. But that's where breakthroughs are born, not in the excitement, but in the struggle. When everything in you says to stop and you decide to keep going anyway, that's the moment something shifts. That's the moment you take back your power. You're more capable than you think, but capability means nothing without action. You can have all the talent, all the ideas, all the dreams, but if you don't push, they stay buried inside of you. Nobody becomes great by standing still. Nobody changes their life by waiting. You've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to choose effort over excuses. Pushing is not glamorous. It's not always fun. It's doing the work when the work is hard. It's showing up when you're tired. It's trusting that even small steps move you forward. You don't need to sprint. You just need to move. The mountain won't climb itself. The future you want won't show up by chance. You've got to build it, and building requires pushing through doubt, fear, and failure. You're not stuck. You've just been standing still too long. You've let the weight of disappointment slow you down. You've let the fear of the unknown paralyze your progress. But nothing changes until you do. Nothing moves until you push. You can't think your way into a new life. You have to act your way into it. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief fuels consistency, and consistency changes everything. The moment you decide that your future matters more than your fear is the moment you begin to move again. You don't need a massive leap. You just need a push. A push to try again. A push to believe again. A push to become who you were meant to be. Leveling up is not a moment, it's a mindset. It's not something that happens overnight with a single win or one big opportunity. It's the way you think, the way you approach life, the way you respond to failure, setbacks, and resistance. You don't just stumble into the next version of yourself. You create it with daily decisions, consistent effort, and the belief that where you are now is not where you're meant to stay. People think leveling up is about fame or money or recognition, but the real elevation starts inside. It starts the moment you decide that you're done playing small, done settling for less, done making excuses. The moment you shift your mindset, everything else begins to follow. The person who levels up isn't always the smartest or the most talented. It's the one who refuses to give up, who keeps showing up with a hunger to grow, who embraces discomfort instead of avoiding it. It's the person who looks in the mirror and says, I'm not waiting to be chosen. I'm choosing myself. When you change the way you think, you change the way you live. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop blaming and start building. You start focusing on problems and start creating solutions. Mindset is the root of all change. You can change your job, your environment, even your relationships, but if your mindset stays the same, nothing really changes. Leveling up means you hold yourself to a higher standard. It means you don't let your feelings dictate your actions. It means you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It means you're willing to outgrow people, habits, and situations that no longer serve your purpose. That kind of growth doesn't happen by accident. It's a choice you make every single day. You train your mind like you train a muscle. You feed it discipline, consistency, vision, and truth. You guard it from negativity, doubt, and distractions. You remind yourself that every moment is a chance to grow, to become sharper, stronger, more focused. Mindset determines how you see obstacles. Some people see a wall and stop. People with a level up mindset see a wall and start figuring out how to climb it, break it down, or build a new path around it. They don't take no for an answer. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They move with urgency because they understand that potential without action is wasted power. The way you think shapes the way you speak, and the way you speak shapes your result. That's why your thoughts are not just private ideas, they're the blueprint of your reality. You don't need a breakthrough to start thinking like the next version of you. You start thinking like that person now, and that mindset will create the breakthrough. You start speaking like that person, moving like that person, preparing like that person. And the more you do that, the more your life starts to rise to match the mindset. That's how you level up. Not through one single moment, but through a daily commitment to thinking high, expecting more, and becoming better than the day before.